Welcome to Montana Acting Studio and Casting. My name is Jared Broxterman, and this is Cami Mon, and we're the co-founders. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1.
Terminology. Very important.
Very important.
So why is terminology so important?
Well, it's very important to know the right words. If you audition and a casting director, one of the words, says, hey, here's going to send you your sides. Oh, another word. And we need you to read them. We need you to do a slate first, and then we need you to send your video submission. What do those words mean?
Exactly.
What do those words mean?
In film acting, it's very different than theater acting, and all of the terminology is very different. And
you're going to need to know all these terms in order to become a working professional actor. Mm-hmm. It's not words in terms that we made up. They are the ones that we use on a regular basis, on set, off set, anything to do with film. Mm-hmm. That's what you need to know.
Yeah.
So that way you don't look unintelligent, or you look like an amateur or rookie.
Well, and you can take directions and you know what they're talking about. It's just going to make the whole experience for everybody so much better and so much more proficient. So
we're going to go through the list of the words also in the PDF that you downloaded for this video and the season. Study it. Keep it with you. And then at the end of this video, there will be a test to make sure that you're learning and paying attention. Yep. We got tests.
Yep.
This is classes. This is courses. We're here to mend you into a professional actor. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's get to it.
All right.
Action. The command from the director for the scene to begin. It also means that the camera is rolling.
Okay, that's really, really important. When you are on set and you hear action, and if you're if you're not in the scene, you zip it. Mm-hmm. You hold still, you don't move, because you do not want to be the reason why they have to retake the scene.
Yeah. You don't want to be that guy.
No.
So, action.
Okay. Pretty easy.
Yep. Wrap. It's a wrap. The completion of a day's filming or the entire production. It basically means, hey, that's it.
Yeah.
We did a good job.
Yay. Yeah, you like to hear that. You like to hear that.
Means your job is completed, and
that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Okay.
AD-LIB. Spoken words. Sometimes witty comments said out loud that are not in the script. Kind of like improv. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is very important to know, but also to know how to do. Right? Because when you're in a scene, sometimes you just got to improv it. You got to ad-lib to make the scene going. You got to play off the reactions and and react to the other character.
Mm-hmm. And you also need to know when not to ad-lib. Mm-hmm. There are times that you do not ad-lib. You stay strictly on the script. So
correct. Wardrobe, the clothing a performer wears on camera. Mm-hmm. Also the department, wardrobe. So anything that you wear for the scene, wardrobe.
Yep.
Boom.
Okay.
You want to do some?
Well, I can't see what it says.
Back to one.
All right, so back to one. The verbal cue for performers to return to the mark where they started the scene. Now, why would that be important?
Cool. When you're rocking and rolling and you're just trying to get these scenes done, you're always in a time crunch, it seems like, in the film industry. You want to know exactly where your starting point is for that scene. You need to go back to your mark. Ooh, the next word. But you want to go back to where you started, back to one. For your first position, because there could be different positions throughout the scene where this is one, and then you do some stuff, and this is two. So when the director says back to one, that's usually, or reset, you go back to your starting position, and you are ready for action.
So one of the reason why that is really important is because when you're filming, you don't get to just do it one time. Okay. I know a lot of people that are going to be taking this course have taken a lot of theater. And so some of the things can be similar. Some of them are totally different. When you're acting on film and you're trying to record the scene, you will have different camera angles. We'll be learning about that too. Different camera angles. And so you have to do the scene multiple times exactly the same way, because they need to have a camera here one time. Then the next time they have a camera here. And the next time they have a camera here, right in your face. And so you have to be able to go right back to one and be able to do it exactly the same way every single time, maintaining that continuity.
Exactly.
The next one, mark.
It's not the guy that's behind the camera. It could be, but the word mark. It is the exact position or positions given to an actor on a set to ensure that he or she is in the proper light and camera angle. It's
very, very important on film because they will already have the lights and the cameras preset so that you are going to be right on in the frame that the way they want it to be. And if you're not on your mark, you're going to be like over here.
Yeah.
You're going to be like over here.
Yeah.
You're going to be like over here. Yeah.
You're going to be like over here. Yeah.
So.
And even like your mark with the body, with your body angles, your body position, because when the camera is on a certain focus, if the focus is right here on your face, if you move even a few inches forward or too far back, you can be out of focus. And so it might throw off that. They might have to cut and they might have to
or you can seem like you're really, really big and they're really small. So, no.
Camera angles.
No. Okay. All right. So the principal. A principal is a performer with lines. Okay, so if you're a principal performer.
Yep. You are.
You got lines.
So when they say we make way for principal, that's who you are. The ones with lines, speaking lines.
There you go.
They're the talent, and they're the kind of the important guys as far as to make the scene go.
The backgrounds are important too, but we'll get to that. Okay.
Beat. A deliberate and slight pause in dialogue or an action, most normally in dialogue to emphasize motion and thought. Yeah, a beat's like a short pause. It's kind of like a breath. Like you just take a breath, take a beat, and then deliver your line or your action.
And a lot of times it will be where the emotion is stronger or where it changes. It's just it is important, So if you see in your sides it says beat. Just know that you need to just pause for a second.
Take a breath. And if it's like do in your head. Breath.
Breathe.
And then go. All right.
All right.
Bump.
What is a bump?
Added money, but different from an adjusted pay rate. A bump is a one-time payment for additional services or items.
Oh.
Say, for example, you're hired to, say you're an extra, and you are on set, and they say, hey, can you give a line? Well, that's a different pay. So they bump your pay up, so now you're actually speaking line. And that's where
you start getting the money.
Yeah, that's where. So a bump.
Okay.
Yeah. Call sheet. A sheet containing the cast and crew call times for a specific day's shooting. Scene numbers, the expected days, total pages, locations, and production needs are also included. So it depends on the production, but a lot of the time the call sheet, it gives the weather forecast, the sunrise, the sunset, everybody's information, where you need to be, what time, what you need to wear. So it's very important. It's a way to stay organized when it comes to the organized chaos when it comes to filming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and when you have scenes with multiple characters in it, you need to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. So that's all given to you. So it's your job to be on time, be ready to shoot.
Absolutely.
And be there early.
Yes.
You be there early. Okay.
Did you know that first show I was on, it was the Orville? And my call time was actually 9 o'clock, and I was so scared and nervous because it was on like Fox Studios. And I was like, I'm going to show up 2 hours early. And luckily, I found out if you show up way early, they're just like, you have to go wait in your car. But I showed up early, and they needed somebody on set just in the background for one scene. And so I got pulled really quick, and I was able to.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, usually just don't show up that early.
Yeah. You kind of show your inexperience a little bit that way too.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, sometimes it pays.
Call time. Look at that. The time you are called to be on the set. So,
and like we said, how early do you think you would recommend that they be there?
Well, the call time that they give you, you want to show up just like any appointment, 15 minutes early.
At least
15 minutes early. That way, so you're organized and you kind of just maybe relax and just enjoy yourself.
Well, and it can kind of give you time also if you to find out if there's anything else that you need to do before the shoot time. And, you know, in this case, in all of this, you really need to remember, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
You're late. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. Casting director. The producer's representative responsible for choosing performers for consideration by the producer or director.
The casting director, like I said, is the gatekeeper. They're the one that is going to be the one recommending you. They are the one who, they are really on your side, okay? You will make their job a whole lot easier if you bring your best self.
Bring your best self.
Yeah. They want you to succeed, so.
Cold reading.
Oh, cold reading.
Do you remember your early cold readings in theater?
Oh, yeah. And you know, cold reading, it can sound like something really, really, really scary. We're going to be giving you some tools and techniques on doing cold reading so that you can be confident in your performance. A cold read, what that is when you have just a short amount of time to be able to read a side, then turn around and perform it. You know, it's not necessarily you have 1 minute to read this and you got to speed read through it and then you got to try to deliver it. That's not usually the way that it is. So we'll go through with that, but it's reading, performing something that you had just a little bit of time to prepare.
Yeah. Sometimes you only have maybe a few days as far as getting a role, and if you have a few lines and stuff like that, though, you gotta power memorize those things.
Well, and also just on set, and a lot of times there's a rewrite. You'll get the side just before you're going to be going on and doing your scene, and so you need to know to cold read that and be able to perform it.
Absolutely. Craft services. Usually consists of junk food and your basic munchies.
Yeah, craft services is not what I thought that it was when I first said. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's sometimes known simply as crafty. And it's also
it's
your
food.
all-purpose snacking table.
Yeah, it's the food.
It's the people that provide the meals and the snacks and water and all that, and food and beverage.
Yeah.
So it's very important because you got to eat.
You want to be nice to them.
Exactly. Cut. It's a verbal cue for the action of the scene to stop at no time.
No time.
No time. Absolutely no time. Like if you want to look like a rookie, then do this. By all means, do this. But you also might not find work. An actor at no time will call cut.
No. If you mess up, I mean, I don't care how bad you mess up, you do not call cut.
You give it a beat.
About a 5-second beat. Why?
It comes down to the editing. When you're in a scene, right? And you go to deliver a line and you mess up instead of saying, "Oh, sorry, let's start over." No. Shut up. Hold it. Give it a beat. Deliver the line again. You go until it's kind of like in football. Our coach told us you go until the whistle.
Oh, okay.
You never stop running towards the person that has the ball to tackle them or hold your position until the whistle, because the time that you think that the play's done, they run down and score a touchdown. So when it comes to acting, you do everything until cut. That's how you do it. That's the professional way to do it.
Yeah, the director is the only one that calls cut.
Yeah. Well, it's not always just the director, just a person that's their job.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be the cameraman. Sometimes it could be the assistant director. It just depends on what size of set that you're on. You know, whether if it's a big one, big production, then it could be just the director and producer. But when it comes down to smaller productions, a lot of people have different hats. But just make sure as an actor that you know who's the one that's yelling cut, and do not ever do that.
Yeah. And so the reason, going back to taking a beat and then redoing it, is because they're still running the film, they're still running the sound, and so when the editors go to cut that bad part out, they need to have a little bit of time in between, the good and the bad one, to be able to cut that out. And so you need to give them a bit of space so they can do that.
I'm gonna give a little example, and I'm gonna give the example, and I'll actually edit this to where you can see how it would be different if we're doing a line. So I'm just gonna read just our little slate that we have here. Another term. So if I was like, Montana Acting Studio Montana Acting Studio and Casting, right?
Yeah.
How did that look in the edit? Just jumbled, right?
Yeah.
Now let's do it properly. Welcome to Montana Acting Studio and Cast. Welcome to Montana Acting Studio and Casting, Season 1, Episode 1. Boom! That's how you do it. Give it a beat. You can move on.
Yep. Okay.
Dialogue. The scripted words exchanged by performers. Dialogue.
Yes. Yep.
So, hey.
It's pretty easy.
Dialoguing, usually when someone just talks too much. But it's, dialogue.
It's just the talking.
Yeah. Director. The coordinator of all artistic and technical aspects of any production.
Yeah.
They're very important. Do not bug them. There's other people that can answer your questions on set. Mm-hmm. Do not bug them. Mm-hmm. When it comes to big productions too, don't approach them. They have too much going on. If you're a background, just stick to the person that's the talent wrangler or whoever's on set. Maybe it's the casting director that's there to just wrangle all the principals and also all the background. Mm-hmm. Stick to the person that helped you when you got there and don't bug anybody else. Concentrate on your craft.
Yeah.
Eyeline. The direction an actor should look off screen to match a reverse angle or POV. Point of view shot.
Point of view shot. Mm-hmm.
Eyeline. If I'm speaking to Cammie and she's off, right? If she's off, she's right there, right? And I'm speaking to her this way, and the camera's pointing at me right here on a close-up. I'm looking this way, and if all of a sudden it turns over the shoulder and I'm looking, but technically she was over here, but I'm looking over here. When they go to do a shot over my shoulder to see her face, my head's completely turned in the wrong way, and the continuity can be completely off.
Yeah. So pretty much, I mean, if you're looking at somebody, that's where it needs to be continued. Mm-hmm. It has to be the same way all the time. Say that you're doing a video audition, okay? And there's one person that is reading the other lines that are not yours, and say that there's 3 people in the scene. Yourself, and say you're at a restaurant and you've got the person across from you, and then you also have a waitress that comes in, okay? So I'm talking to the person across from me, and they're directing their lines. And then that same person pretends like does the lines of the waitress. So if the waitress comes and says something and I just go like this, the waitress isn't going to be at the same level that the person is sitting at the table. The waitress is going to be up here. And then I can watch the waitress walk over here. That way my face is to the camera and I can be talking to them. Mm-hmm. And then I go back and I talk to the person that I was just talking to across the table from me. Those are 2 different eye lines, and you can accomplish a lot by creating those effective eye lines.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They're very well explained. Rolling. That's a verbal cue for the camera, film, and audio tape to start rolling. Mm-hmm. Basically, it kind of comes from the when film originated. They had film, so the film was rolling, mm-hmm. and that way, you got to start action right after that because it would waste a lot of film. Now, the digital age, it's just now a verbal cue, so that way, getting ready. It's like, on your marks, get set, go!
So the sound people, they give their cue that they are going and they're ready. So sound speed, you'll hear them say that. Then the cameras say rolling, so you know that they're recording. And then the director will say action, and then that's when you start moving. And anybody offset, to zip it and hold still when it's action. Mm-hmm. Okay. And rolling. Anytime they start doing that, you stop what you're doing.
Also, another one is pictures up. It's the warning that the sequence of cues to shoot a scene is about to begin. Second team, the verbal cue for the stand-ins to come to the set and be ready to work. First team is the principal actors.
Okay.
Right, so the principals, they're the ones with all the speaking lines. Mm-hmm. In bigger productions, it takes a while to set up camera angles and the lighting and all that stuff. So you need someone to stand there. And for the principal actor to stand there and do their job, it's actually pretty exhausting. And they won't be able to deliver that great of a performance. So the stand-in, their job is just to come and stand there while they get that. And they're called second team.
So they're the ones that the people that are doing the lighting, they'll see how it is, the camera angles, they get them all focused and everything. And then they take off, and then the principals come in and do their job.
Principals, first team. You'll hear that on bigger productions.
Okay.
Pickup. It's not a vehicle that you can haul wood in or...
It's not a line.
No, not at all. It's starting a scene from a place other than the beginning.
So when you have a pickup, it's like a pickup line, and it's not, hey baby. It's you are starting in the middle of a scene because you didn't have to start at the very beginning of it. So
because that portion was good.
Yeah. And so you have your pickup line where you go back to, and that's where you're starting from.
Yep. Like it could be say, hey, pick up from this line. Sometimes when somebody messes up and they have to and they're still rolling, the camera's still going, and they say, hey, pick up from line whatever, and that's when the actor's like, okay. They give their beat, and then they go. Look at that. Stand-ins. Look at that. Extra performers used as substitutes for featured actors, principals, for the purpose of setting lights and rehearsing camera moves, also known as the second team.
Okay.
Boom.
Yep.
So also, stand-ins are very important, not just to stand there. A lot of the time, they don't stand there just in one spot, while they're doing everything. Sometimes they are taught to do the blocking, to the movement of the actor. So when they're doing the rehearsal, the stand-ins actually rehearsing, doing the same things, sometimes delivering the same lines that the principal actor is actually doing. So what they do is, when the principal actor comes in to do their job, the stand-in explains to them and walks them through what they're doing. Say, hey, when you deliver this line, we're doing this right here. Boom. Then you come over here, you do this, you deliver this line. So a stand-in is not just someone that just... It's a very serious job, and it's I know a few people that are very good stand-ins, and it's a lot of work.
That's their whole career is their stand-ins. Yeah. And they also are there for, so that the camera people, when they're moving, can rehearse what they're supposed to be doing, all that kind of stuff. So
what's really cool is if you ever notice in a film or a TV show or anything where there's no cuts. Like the scene doesn't jump, you can tell it's edited. That's one shot, right? And if it's a very long, a lot of moving parts, that is so pristine and such a hard thing to do. Like on the Revenant, the beginning where they're getting attacked by the Native Americans, that whole entire scene is a one shot.
Oh, wow.
So rehearsing that outside with a lot of moving parts, a lot of action, a lot of things... It is a very, very talented thing for everybody to be part of that. Yeah. So it is really exciting too when you can pull that off, and it's just like the whole thing was awesome. It is awesome. Yeah. On one of our films that we had the privilege to cast for. Nexus of Evil, Camp Naughty Pine. Yeah. It's a horror movie, and it's really awesome, but the ending scene, we shot it in one shot. Yeah. And it was so emotional and so raw, and it was so fun, and it was so cool to see all of our local actors that we cast for do an amazing job and have just an amazing production. It was just so cool. Yeah. Sides. Pages or scenes from a script used in auditions, or if on the film set, those scenes being shot for the day. So instead of lugging around the entire script, once you get on set, you have your sides printed out to where that's what's going on in the scenes for today. So that's only the lines you got to worry about for that day, and they're usually small enough to where you can put in your back pocket, and so you can just keep them on you as an actor. And in between cuts, if you have a question about your own lines or you want to go over your lines before a scene, right there. You can have them on your phone nowadays, but
that's tricky. I like
paper.
Well, and also, when you go in for an audition, if you're going in person, you want to take your sides with you because you want to have them there so you can look down, glance down and grab a line if you need to. If you go into an audition and you don't have your sides with you and you don't carry them with you, they might actually think, oh, they're pretty professional. They are at a professional level, and they'll be expecting you to be. So the sides, you want to take those with you when you go on to an audition for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The last one that we have for Montana Acting Studio and Casting for our terminology.
For right now, we'll be adding a whole lot more.
SLATE. The process of verbal identification by a performer in a taped audition. Second definition, a small chalkboard or clapper device, often electronic, used to mark and identify shots on film for editing.
So it's that clapperboard thing.
It's the clapperboard.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Also, SLATE, when you're doing a video submission audition, it is an intro about yourself, so the casting director knows who you are and what parts you're doing. It's to keep it organized, because on the casting director's side, on our side, we get so many submissions in that if you have a file that's completely just like not at all named or whatever, or like a video, we don't know who you are. Mm-hmm. And we'll just, most likely we got too much on our hands. And if you, as a performer, actor, didn't take the time to do the submission correctly with a correct slate, then we're just going to move on.
Yep.
You know? So I'm going to give you a quick little definition, or a little quick sample of what a slate is. Okay. I'm going to give a slate.
Which one?
I'm going to give the, for the video audition.
Okay.
So it's like this. Jared Broxterman, 6 feet tall, 33 years old, Missoula, Montana, represented by Montana Acting Studio and Casting, auditioning for the role of man and coworker. And then you cut. Okay. That's it. It just depends on what the casting director wants.
Now, do you use one of these? I mean, when you're doing that, do you have, so they can visually see that you're doing a slate?
It's all verbally. You don't hold any.
And it's just a short video clip.
Just, yeah. It's literally just usually your name, your height, your age, where you are, who your talent representation is, and what part that you're auditioning for. Mm-hmm, parts. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's more than one.
And if you don't have talent representation, you just say independent.
Independent or self-represented. Mm-hmm. That's that. Did you know that Bill Murray has been self-represented his entire life? His entire career. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a fact. You can look it up, but I'm pretty sure that's... Yeah, he does his own thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You can do it.
Yeah.
It's hard to work, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Recap time. Here's a little recap to the terminology. Make sure that you study all these terms so that way you know them and you can pass your tests.
All right, so that
wraps up episode 1, terminology. Thank you for watching. We'll hope to see you in the next video.
The next up, we're going to be talking about memorization techniques.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Absolutely.
So,
hey, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
All right. See ya.